What made you think the surgeon was negligent, Mrs. Meadows?
I know she was.
It wasn't my fault.
Someone had to take the blame.
It was ultimately your responsibility.
What about her bosses?
It's easy for them. They don't have a man's death on their conscience.
Attribution and Retribution in Kavanagh QC, Monday at 8:30 on Central.
Oh, hello everyone. Welcome to another Fowl Original. Almost messed that up. Welcome to another Fowl Original here with me. And I have messed it up because I put on the wrong thing. Bam! There we go. Technical difficulties over. Hello everyone and welcome to another Fowl Original, me Fowl Original, watching you tonight on the news. Because it's Newsround. It's Newsround tonight. Our top story. Kavanagh. Mr. Kavanagh. Mr. Graham, Mr. Trump, allegations. Brett Kavanaugh, I am innocent of this charge. The confirmation hearings. Should have put hashtag actually, hashtag confirmation hearings. It's been a while since I've been talking about the politics. I talk about the politics all the time. Am I informed? Am I ill-informed? I'm informed enough. If you want to know how informed I am, then hello everyone and welcome to another Fowl Original #1. And #2, if you'd like to help support the channel, oh yeah, Fowl Shilling. Gotta get the shilling in, That's what you do. First you get the shilling, then you get the donations, then you get the penthouse apartment in the sky. If you go see to fowloriginal.com, you see this big bird face guy. And then you can go to support the channel. And if you go to support the channel, you can click the Patreon, which I will be fixing this weekend. I'm just going to move this around on the website now. streamlabs.com/fowloriginalwrestling. And you can also click the donate button, which is the easiest way to do this. If you click the donate button, the most popular way as well, it will bring you to a page where you can donate like $5, for example, and make it a monthly donation. And then that will help support content for Fowl Original in the future and in the coming future for all the weird stuff I'm doing. Obviously, I've got a big thing happening in January, which I would love people to put towards because that would really help. It's my biggest to date thing. At work the other day I was told one of the apprentices said to me that he was told not to say things all the time. I need to stop saying things all the time. I told him to use a thesaurus. Why am I using it? Why am I not speaking English? Anyway, top story. Brett Kavanaugh, I am innocent of this charge. The confirmation hearings. So I'm just going to take you to that story now. So this is all over the Twitters, and this is part of what we're talking about today. Bam. So emotional Kavanaugh swears innocence. I am innocent of this charge. This is live. This is happening right now. So there's live reporting happening at the moment in the US. As you can see, he was immature, so were we all. And this is a summary of what's happening so far. Brett Kavanaugh begins his Senate testimony by saying he's the victim of an orchestrated political hit. President Trump's Supreme Court nominee angrily says his family have been destroyed by the allegations. Earlier, Christine Blasey Ford said Judge Kavanaugh sexually assaulted her 36 years ago. Her voice cracking, she said she thought he was going to rape her, and she is 100% sure it was him. The balance of power on America's highest court, which makes rulings affecting all American lives, is at stake. And Brett Kavanaugh being going to the American Supreme Court and appointed by Mr. Trump. And as you can say, like, he was immature, so I do not mean to minimize the seriousness of the claims, says Ohio Republican Orrin Hatch. He was an immature high schooler, so were we all, he says with a chuckle. That he wrote or said stupid things sometimes does not make him a sexual predator. Kavanaugh apologizes to Klobuchar. Kavanaugh opens up the break by apologizing for asking Amy Klobuchar about her drinking habits. The Democratic senator thanks him for his apology. Here is that testy exchange. Klobuchar asks Kavanaugh if he's ever blacked out while drinking. He says he hasn't. Twice asks, have you? She says she doesn't have a drinking problem. Neither do I, he says. Like, and see the stuff still coming in worse than Clarence Thomas. This is worse than Clarence Thomas. I don't think it can get any worse than that Republican senator. So this is, as I said, a Senate committee hearing, and it's still ongoing. Spiking sex abuse survivor calls, rape, abuse, and incest national network RAIN, which is supported by Mick Foley actually. Is reporting a spike in calls to the National Sexual Assault Hotline. RAIN is the largest anti-sexual violence organization in the US. Now, I wanted to quickly give you what was happening. I've got the reaction to Lindsey Graham. And there's been a lot that's happening today when it comes to this story. So this doesn't just affect, and because that's the thing, yeah, this doesn't. Oh, you missed all of the things. Let me show you. So I'm showing you this worse than Clarence Thomas, and it is all coming in. It's very, very. Thank you for your courage in telling your story, Dr. Ford. We thank you for your courage today, Dr. Blasey Ford. Women on both sides react to Kavanagh. The levity Kavanagh is trying to add to his testimony by invoking drinking beers and fast times at Richmond High and yearbook memories through tears is truly galling. You're not the only victim here. Kavanagh confirmation. He really sounds like a 19-year-old frat boy with the nicknames, the drinking games, and the vividly remembered arguments with his roommate. Remarkable how much Kavanagh remembers from those days. Vivid, sharp, detailed. Quite the contrast with the first witness. The story about his daughter and her concern for Kavanagh's accuser made me cry, and I commend her for remembering her in her prayers. May we all show this grace and love at this time. And what's happened to Rachel Mitchell? That is kicked her to the curb when things got tough. Did the GOP finally figure it out? GOP. Looks like GOP senators have taken back control of their designated time, which is kind of like admitting defeat, if you ask me. Some, however, seem happy that she disappeared. Now, have you ever been blackout drunk? I want to just find... What I'm going to do is just generally find a... I'm going to find an article on Kavanagh. So let's just go Kavanagh. And let's see an article from the BBC, which isn't the live one, because obviously the live one, as you can see, isn't really going to give us what we need. This is being live. All of them are being live because everyone is feeding in. But what I wanted was a general... There you go. This will probably do it. It's Gizmodo politics. There's a missing ring. So this is the story of the missing ring. Brett Kavanaugh, the Supreme Court nominee, repeatedly accused of sexual misconduct, is currently blubbering. There's a certain juiciness to the missing, because he's missing his wedding band. Perhaps the past 2 weeks of allegations have put a strain on Kavanaugh's marriage. Does Kavanaugh not wear a wedding ring? Washington Post reporter Angela Fritz asked Twitter, echoing a now deleted tweet from a Random House social media manager and dozens of other Twitter users. Makes a compelling narrative. The underlying hypothesis is inaccurate. This is not to say Kavanaugh is wearing a ring that I don't know happens to be transparent. It's just that he hasn't worn one in a while, at least not while being photographed in public. Drinking a bit of water. Here's Brett with Mississippi Senator Cindy Hyde Smith, taken in late July. Not a woman. Surprised. No ring. And here's a ringless Brett on July 11th, shaking hands with Senator Orrin Hatch. And there he is. This is still ongoing, and I just wanted to mention it in the spirit of... this is the top story of the day. The highlights of this story are that Brett Kavanaugh has been accused of sexual misconduct by several women from his past and relatively now. Some of them underage, some of them while he was like a frat boy. But that has given birth to another thing which is trending on Twitter, which is this. Yeah, and I mean this is... It's going to bring you to my Twitter. So on Twitter, like the trends at the moment are these. So I was like, what's Mr. Graham? So Mr. Graham had a response. Here we go. And let's take this from Hannity, SeanHannity.com. This is the most unethical sham I've ever been in politics. Senator Lindsey Graham exploded on these congressional colleagues Thursday, saying the Democrats... Whoops. Don't want to take notifications. Saying the Democrats are all on an all-out mission to destroy this guy's life and call the proceedings the most unethical scam since he's been in politics. What you want to do is destroy this guy's life, hold this seat open, and hope you win in 2020. This is the most unethical scam I've ever been in politics, said the senator. Lindsey Graham angrily points at Democrats. And I am, because I keep getting my YouTube videos just blocked here. screw it. I'm gonna play this because
If you wanted an FBI investigation, you could have come to us. What you want to do is destroy this guy's life, hold this seat open, and hope you win in 2020. You've said that, not me. You've got nothing to apologize for. When you see Sotomayor and Kagan, tell them that Lindsay said hello, because I voted for them. I would never do to them what you've done to this guy. This is the most unethical sham since I've been in politics. And if you really wanted to know the truth, you sure as hell wouldn't have done what you've done to this guy. Are you a gang rapist? No.
that is like a sketch from something like Veep or Thick of It. It just feels like a joke. Now, I just want to just briefly take you back to the look on Brett Kavanaugh's face when Republican Supreme Court Judge Mr. Graham starts his tirade, because you can see, obviously, they're on the same side. That's not just partisan. You can see they're on the same side of this, like, on history.
If you wanted an FBI investigation, you could have come.
Look at that smug man's face. Look at the smugness on Brett Kavanaugh's face there. He knows he's got away with it, yeah. It's over, yeah, it's done. Just looking at that face. Mr. Lindsay has taken a very interesting, and as I said, I'm going to continue to play that again, because I'm going to get blocked anyway, who cares?
To us. What you want to do is destroy this guy.
Look at him, yeah, sitting back like the cat who get the cream, like the fowl who went to... We can do this smoother. The fowl who went to... FowlOriginal.com. If you go to FowlOriginal.com, you can help support the channel by going to support the channel. And if you help support the channel, you can click become a Patreon. Streamlabs.com/FowlOriginalWrestling. You can click the donate button. If you click the donate button, it will take you over to the PayPals. When you get to the PayPals, you can go like $5 if you want it. Make it a monthly donation. Write a note. Let me know who you are, and then we will talk. Thank you very much for helping support the channel. But yeah, he looks so happy with himself. Let's go back to him. He looks so happy with himself. He looks so bloody smug. Like, look at that man, yeah, and tell me that he hasn't already won this investigation. It kind of looks like what would happen if Trump was put on, like, into an investigation, into a Senate hearing, committee hearing, like as an impeachment, like that. He'd get away. That would be him. That's the Trump stance. That's the Trump slightly leaning back. Look, I'll show you. Slightly leaning back. This is the Trump stance. It's like this. Yeah, you know, you can't do nothing to me. Look. That's what he's doing, yeah. He is so happy. And then you've got Mr. Graham like this. So, I mean, you look at both of those men, yeah, and you just see that there's two men on the same side of history there. And yes, it is a terrible, like, but people are now on Mr. Lindsay's side. So it is very, like, people have called it political theatrics. That's exactly what it is. It's political theatrics. It's just someone saying, I stand with Brett Kavanaugh. You must stand with the Republican Party. You must stand with our president. That's what it is. That's what it is. And luckily I'm not from the United States of America, so I don't have to deal with voting for anything soon. But the November elections that are coming up are going to be a cabinet reshuffle, essentially, within the political party of Donald Trump and within his cabinet. So, I mean, there's a lot of people at the moment trying to get a space in the cabinet, and I guess Mr. Graham really wants a space in the cabinet. Secretary of Gobam. Secretary of Chicken. Now, let's look at a picture of Mr. Look, he's there you go. Look at him. He looks like, yeah, I'm just trying to know what he looks like. He looks kind of like my geography teacher from secondary school. I know that that's not really going to, like, mean anything to you people, but yeah, he looks kind of like my geography. He's very... I'm not going to continue any further. It's not very fair. It's not very fair. But he's a very, you know, he's very angry. Let's just say that he's a very angry man. Yeah, Napoleon complex maybe. Don't want to know where this is. But yeah. So Brett Kavanaugh, I am innocent of this charge. Still news incoming. I'm going to leave it on that. We'll probably have to come back to that on Monday when more things are in. Anyway, look, I can't see what you guys are writing in the chat, unfortunately, because I am not prepared. Because I don't do this every night. Because I don't know what I'm doing. So let's see if I can watch myself. So there's people saying stuff in the chat, and I feel a little bit rude because I put a chat box up there. Chat amongst yourselves. Chat amongst yourselves. Chat among the pigeons. Oh, hello there, Brian. How you doing? Yeah, there's a lot of people watching. But yeah, so Brett Kavanaugh, I am innocent of this charge. Confirmation hearings. Let's move into our next segment, which is classic segment, which is this. In other news. So in other news today, we have other things that are happening, not just Lindsey Graham. He has a girl's name, Lindsey Graham. Sean Hannity obviously spinning that to his way. There's loads of. I want to go through the Twitter news that I've seen first, because the Twitter news today has been pretty spicy. So let's get to this. So this is my Twitter, obviously. And as I said, I was looking at what was trending, and I was like, these things are trending. Charles Manson. Is Charles Manson dead? Let me just let you tell you, yeah, he's not dead. He's been a very naughty boy, though. Bruce Dern, and it's the Charles Manson story is that Bruce Dern is stepping into the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood following the death of star Burt Reynolds. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, it was the new Tarantino film, which is going to star Burt Reynolds as the real life rancher who owned the ranch where Charles Manson and his followers lived in the late 1960s. With his untimely death, he will be replacing him and stepping into the role. Really good movie, actually. I want to just quickly talk about this film, because this film is a good old film. Yeah, I like that. He could have been an amazing Manson. He could have been a beautiful baby. Bruce Dern is stepping into Once Upon a Time in Hollywood following the death of star Burt Reynolds. Dern will play George Spahn, the real-life rancher who owned the ranch where Charles Manson and his followers lived in the late 1960s. The Hollywood Reporter has confirmed Quentin Tarantino is writing and directing the film, which takes place in 1969 and centers on a former TV star, Rick Dalton, Leonardo DiCaprio, and his stunt double Cliff Booth, Brad Pitt, as they navigate an industry they barely recognize. Reynolds was plotting a third comeback with a role in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and attended a table read in June with stars Pitt, DiCaprio, Margot Robbie, and Kurt Russell. He died September 6 before he began filming on the project. Dern and Reynolds were longtime friends and worked together multiple times, including the 2003 TV film Hard Ground and an episode of the 1960s TV series 12 O'Clock High. Dern, a two-time Oscar nominee, is currently filming the feature Remember Me in Spain and will be allowed to leave early to shoot Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. David Heyman, Tarantino, and Shannon McIntosh are producing the film, which Sony will release on July 26, 2019. And we've got some stuff with Burt Reynolds. There he is, look. Oh, keep rolling. Oh, keep on trucking. Oh, see you right there, no man roll. Oh, keep on trucking. So, oh man, wrong. Yes, I love Smokey and the Bandit. You know this, people. I've told you this before. I wanted to got Lindsey Graham there. I don't even need to go through those things. Some more Twitter news. Oh, and wrong. Oh, see, wrong coming. I don't see no, and they wrong. You can go to Valerie.com and you can support the channel like this on. You just go support the channel, then you click this button. It says donate. It takes you to PayPal. And when you go to PayPal, you can give me a donation. You can give me $5, for example. Make it a monthly donation, and then you can write a note. If it's one-off, tell me your name. I am from Woodrow, and I've And I've got a bit of something for you now. There you go. If you want to help support the channel, you can do it that way. Let's go back to the Twitter news. I'm getting in ads. I'm getting in as many ads as I can. Shilling, if you say it. Shilling, if you would. This is a big thing that I saw on Twitter as well. Hello there, Niels. Big thing that I saw on Twitter before before anything else. It's really, really weird. But I was like, okay, so The Guardian, hashtag boycott The Guardian. What the hell's going on? And this is trending just before I started writing a lot of the stuff for the script for this show. This show has a script, kind of. It has a format. But yeah, so we've got loads and loads of stories here. And so number one, I see that it says, paedophilia bringing dark desires to light. The Fowl scandal caused public revulsion, but experts disagree about what causes paedophilia and even how much harm it causes. Here's John Henley. The internet went insane when this was published. So let's just have a little look at the article then from The Guardian. Today, September the 27th, 2018. Probably the end of The Guardian. Especially on the internet, anyway. Hello there, Moody. And the Jimmy Savile scandal caused public revulsion. Got that. In 1976, the National Council for Civil Liberties, the respectable and responsible pressure group now known as Liberty, made a submission to Parliament's Criminal Law Revision Committee. It caused barely a ripple. Childhood sexual experiences willingly engaged in with an adult, it read. Result in no identifiable damage. The real need is a change in the attitude which assumes that all cases of paedophilia result in lasting damage. I just want to give you a quick editorial. Let's go back to this. It is difficult today after the public firestorm unleashed by revelations about Jimmy Savile and the host of child abuse allegations they have triggered to imagine any mainstream group making anything like such a claim. But if it is shocking to realise how dramatically attitudes to paedophilia have changed in just 3 decades, it is even more surprising to discover how little agreement there is, even now, among those who are considered experts on the subject. A liberal professor of psychology who studied in the late 1970s will see things very differently from someone working in child protection or with convicted sex offenders. There is, astonishingly, not even a full academic consensus on whether consensual paedophilic relations necessarily cause harm. Again, a quick editorial here. What? So what then? What do we know? A paedophile is someone who has a primary or exclusive sexual interest in prepubescent children. Savile appears to have been primarily an ephobile, defined as someone who has a similar preferential attraction to adolescents, though there have been claims one of his victims was aged 8. But not all paedophiles are child molesters and vice versa. By no means. I can't even read the rest of this article. Like, I don't even want to read the rest of this article. Like, I mean, there's a co-author of The Child Lovers, a study of paedophiles in society. True paedophiles account for only 20% of sexual abuse. What are these words, yeah, that I am reading? I don't even know. Like, I don't even understand. Yeah, I don't even know, like, this article. But as you can see, it's a very, very long article. I would urge you to read it, because I'm not going to read the whole article to you. Now, number one, this article was amended on the 3rd of January 2012. The original incorrectly suggested that the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders was published by the American Psychological Association and misspelled Duncanfield as Duncanfield. This article was further amended on the 21st of January 2013 because the original referred to Sarah Good as a senior lecturer at the University of Winchester. This has been corrected to say honorary research fellow. I mean, it wasn't corrected to say that the whole article was... So, this article, if you read the whole article, yeah, was written in January. It was January 3rd, 2013. So it's a very old article, which now written by John Henley on the Thursday the 3rd of January 2013 when he updated it. I don't know what that article means. Like, it basically is like an apologist kind of article for pedophiles, which I don't really think that works. Apparently it does. I don't know. Like, does it? Is it supposed to? But yeah, so let's see what happened to Twitter. So Twitter, when, as Twitter does, yeah, get a hashtag out there. So we got hashtag boycott the Guardian. So where's the boycott Guardian coming from? Hashtag Daily Mail readers at the Sun. But you can see some of the other stories that it's put out. So I just wanted to show you, for those of you that don't know The Guardian, why has it been aired again? Exactly, Brian, exactly. I don't understand why people are talking about this article again and why The Guardian's got it. But some other stories. So this was from Monday, the 2nd of April, 2018. These are examples that people have given that are apparently the reason why you should boycott The Guardian. Stop Jeremy Corbyn's trial by media over anti-Semitism. More than 40 senior academics write to condemn what they see as an anti-Corbyn bias in media coverage of the anti-Semitism debate. Hello, Blastosphere. One of the main concepts in journalism education is that of framing, the highlighting of particular issues and the avoidance of others, in order to produce a desired interpretation. We have been reminded of the importance of framing when considering the vast amounts of media coverage of Jeremy Corbyn's alleged failure to deal with anti-Semitism inside the Labour Party. On Thursday, 3 national titles led with the story, while news bulletins focused on the allegations all last week. Dominant sections of the media have framed the story in such a way as to suggest that anti-Semitism is a problem mostly to do with Labour and that Corbyn is personally responsible for failing to deal with it. Deal with it. The coverage has relied on a handful of sources such as the Board of Deputies, the Jewish Leadership Council, and well-known political opponents of Corbyn himself. So lots of stuff here, and lots of professors. It's a very small story. Basically what it says is it seems to be whipping up a frenzy about what Jeremy Corbyn should be allowed to do. So and what role he should play within the Jewish community and as the Labour leader. He doesn't really need to have Judaism as the forefront of his campaign or of his personality or his character. But I guess Tony Blair, having his born-again Christian faith put out there as, I'm not a bad person, I'm a Christian. I mean, Jeremy Corbyn's not doing the, I'm not a bad person, I'm a Jew. But one of my favourite quotes of all time from Mr. From the UK Apprentice, someone in the chat help me out now. I remember his name right now. Alan Sugar. So Alan Sugar, when there was a guy in one of the apprentices, and he said, "Mr. Lord Sugar, I'm a Roman Catholic, and I never lie to you." And he's like, "I'm a Jew, and I don't care." I loved that. I absolutely loved it. Yeah, it was one of my favorite. Like, it doesn't matter what your religion is. That shouldn't frame your political bent unless you're in I guess a Shia type country, where it's Sharia style law country where religion forms the basis of most of your political aspirations. Anyway, I'm rambling. Another story is new BBC Question Time host to be chosen through TV pilot trial. Presenters Emily Matlis and Michelle Hussein are among possible candidates for the role. And so they're talking about a female shortlist of presenters that are going to replace David Dimbleby, and as you can see in what some have internally dubbed Question Time Idol. And that's the thing, like the Guardian have framed it as, this is a news story as, oh well, you know, look, those lovely ladies, they're going to be trying to, no, look at them, look at those lovely ladies, we can't get another man to replace them because that wouldn't be progressive. We're going to get a woman to do it, and whoever does it knows their bullshit are filmed. And it's like a reality show within the BBC. I go, prior to Dimbleby, Question Time was fronted by Robin Day and Peter Sissons. Dimbleby announced in June that it would be stepping down as host after 25 years in the role, during which time it's flourished and attracted younger audiences. Its final episode will air on 13th of December. It becomes something of a cult figure, attracting parody Twitter accounts and inspiring the name Dimblebot and Dimble Dance competition online. So, David Dimbleby. There have been calls for the corporation to appoint a woman to the role, which would be the first for Question Time since its launch in 1979. And this is another kind of, it seems as if it's looking at pushing an agenda potentially, and that's from The Guardian. So as you can see, the hashtag boycott The Guardian has 16.7 thousand tweets. Exactly, Brian, yeah. It should be just get the right person. It shouldn't be that it has to be a woman. It's the whole affirmative action thing. And I mean, as a brown man, as a cisgendered brown man, I mean, I'm quite privileged, yeah. But, you know, I know my place. And I know that certain things in my life may have been given to me potentially through affirmative action. Yeah, I got no problem with affirmative. I don't play the race card, but if the race card is put into my hand, then what do I do? That is just life. Yeah, but people who push an agenda for like feminism, Danny Dyer is the obvious choice. I mean, I would think, what's the dude from Mock the Week? I can't remember his name. The guy who hosts Mock the Week, and he also has a show about video games. Can't think of his name. If anyone in the chat can help me out there, he would be a great replacement. What about Craig Charles? Sometimes you just have to think, what about Craig Charles? I mean, there's loads of people that could probably do it. Like, what about someone like Krishnan Guru Murthy? What about someone, and what about, I look a bit like him at the moment. What about Krishnan Guru Murthy? What about someone like, I know, what about someone like Russell Brand? No, not like Russell Brand. Dara O'Brien, yes, right. Dara O'Brien. What about Dara O'Brien? Like, he's a good guy. And, you know, that's water, not vodka, by the way. And you know what Dara O'Brien would do? He'd be like, I'm gonna help you out, brother. I'm gonna help out your situation. I'm gonna do something daring. I'm gonna do something bold. I'm gonna go out there on Question Time, and I'm gonna say, go to fowloriginal.com. If you go to fowloriginal.com, you'll see this big bird face. Then you can go click support the channel. Click support the channel, and then click this button, the donate button. That'll allow you to give me a donation. And when you click that button, it will bring you to this page. And Joe Brand, this is my brand. That's some big shoes to fill. And you can make it a monthly donation, or you could write a note and do it that way and say hello. Thank you very much. Any donation that you make helps support the channel in producing all the different content that I do. I do loads of different things, as you all know. Lots of shiz. All of the things. Jeremy Clarkson, Niaz, Jeremy Clarkson. I mean, exactly. Jeremy Clarkson would be amazing. If we're saying Jeremy Clarkson, what about someone like Chris? Okay, no, not Chris Evans. And he's left the BBC anyway. But this is what I mean, yeah. What about someone like I'm trying to think of someone who has that air of distinction but can still be there. What about if you didn't go there? What about someone like Jeremy Vine? Yeah, like Jeremy Vine unfortunately went to Channel 5, but a Jeremy Vines type character, like, doesn't have to be a man and doesn't have to be a newsman. What about Hugh Edwards? What about Hugh Edwards? I'm gonna skew Welsh on this one. What about Hugh Edwards? I think that he could work. Totally do. But yes, so there's a replacement for Newsnight at the moment. Question Time even. And I'm very excited to see who will become the new person, but I hope that it isn't someone just because Michael Jackson. Wow. He is a smooth criminal. Anyway, In other news, so I think there was one more story that I saw out there on the Twitters. I should have just branded this section just Twitterland. And this is apparently a big news I don't really know about. Zack Sabre Jr. What about Will Ospreay? Nah, mate. Nah. It's going to be Bad Boy Tonga, isn't it? Tama Tonga. It's going to be Tama Tonga. Hello there, Ahmad. So this is the last story on Twitter, which is Billy Joe Saunders fails drug test for banned stimulant. Let's just go to the dailymail.co.uk. World middleweight champion Billy Joe Saunders has failed a drugs test. Sports Mail understands he has tested positive for banned stimulant oxyfrauline. World middleweight champion Billy Joe Saunders failed a drugs test. Due to the WBO title holder, who the sources close to the fighter has claimed it came from a nasal spray. Sports, he was due to defend his belt against Demetrius Andrade in Boston on October 20th, tested positive for the banned substance oxylofrene, a stimulant. Sources claim, close to the fighter, claim it came from a nasal spray. And the British Boxing Board of Control, the BBBOC, claimed the failed test of Sportsmail on Thursday night, but it is not yet clear if the 29-year-old's fight will be cancelled because the substance is only banned by WADA in competition. In the US and Britain, that typically means the day of fighting. The Voluntary Anti-Doping Agency conducted the test. In the eyes of the BBBOC, the controversial fighter does not have a case to answer, though a decision on his forthcoming fight will be in the hands of the Massachusetts State Athletic Commission. Before you act. Before you act. Oh, he's smart for you. BBBOC General Secretary Robert Smith told Sportsmail, according to our rules and those of UK anti-doping, he has not committed a breach. It is down to the Massachusetts over what happens next. The issue has arisen in the same week that Saunders was fined £100,000 by the board after a video surfaced of him asking a woman to perform a sex act on a passerby in exchange for drugs. Classy guy. Let's look at the related article because I didn't even know that. Billy Joe Saunders fined £100,000 after asking. World champion Billy Joe Saunders has been fined £100,000 by the BBBOC. They have just been fining him all over the place. Saunders was charged with misconduct last week after 2 explicit videos. He asked a woman to perform a sex act in exchange for Class A drugs. Saunders then asked the woman to punch a member of the public, which he did. In a second video, he taunted a woman in the street, calling her a prostitute. This was just 2 days ago. He is a class act. Billy Joe Saunders has been fined £100,000 and severely reprimanded by the British Board of Control, the BBBOC, after asking a woman to perform a sex act in exchange for Class A drugs. In the first of 2 videos posted on Instagram, wow. I didn't see these things. I'm all over the Instagram. Follow @Fowl Original. You can check out my stupidness. In the first of 2 videos posted on Instagram, Saunders, 29, was seen asking Lindsay Fox, 37, to perform a sex act in exchange for drugs, as well as telling her to punch a member of the public. Oh, there she. Oh, she's a class act as well. Boxer Billy Joe Saunders was filmed taunting Lindsay Fox and offering £150 worth of crack. Billy Joe Saunders makes crack addict punch a passerby. I don't want to watch the whole video. We don't really want to watch the whole video, do we? Strange training routine, not Rocky style. Well, you know, crack training routine there. At the time of publication, Nottinghamshire police described the footage as sickening. The Welwyn Garden City fighter issued an apology on Twitter last week, but footage later emerged of a second video, also posted on his Instagram page from earlier this year. In the video, Saunders taunted Fox from the window of his £250,000 Rolls Royce. "You're selling your body on the street," he shouted. When the woman denies being a prostitute and says she is looking for someone, he continues, "I'm underage and you're offering me sex." Another video has emerged of boxer Billy Joe Saunders haranguing a woman on the street. And the footage shows him accusing the woman of selling sex and saying, "We don't want the clap." As she tries to walk away, he shouts, "You're selling your bum. You look so beautiful. You got legs. A friend of the boxer then hands the woman a bottle of water before Saunders asks, see, we're nice people. We just don't want the clap. A statement from the British Boxing Board of Control on Tuesday read, Billy Joe Saunders appeared before the stewards of the British Boxing Board of Control today under a misconduct charge following his recent behaviour shown on social media. The stewards have found Mr. Saunders guilty of bringing the sport of boxing into disrepute and have fined him the sum of £100,000 and issued a severe reprimand as to his future conduct. All monies will go to the BBBOC charity to assist ex-boxers and ex-licence holders who have fallen on hard times. Apologise to everyone who took offence. It's totally in the wrong. Can't do anything but be sorry. Banter went wrong. Apologies once again. Billy Joe Saunders, everyone. Billy Joe Saunders. Class act. Class act. Now, this is when, obviously, again, Twitter goes a little bit crazy. So, it's just like Twitter going mental over it, yeah, and doesn't know the difference between protein and a prostitute, let alone performance-enhancing drugs. Very hard to believe an upstanding member of society and man of integrity such as Billy Joe Saunders could be so cheap. I am shocked and appalled. Had it confirmed, Billy Joe Saunders, apologies everyone. Apologies, everyone. Just an ad playing in the background. But I think it's very, very funny. Had it confirmed, Billy Joe Saunders has failed a drug test. Billy Joe Saunders has achieved the unthinkable in high-level boxing. 3 fights cancelled in the same year, and now he's pissed hot and can kiss his title goodbye. Billy Joe Saunders fails voluntary drugs test ahead of WBO World Anti-Doping thing. So, yeah, Billy Joe Saunders was so close to having the public actually care about his career. However, the stimulant is only banned in competition, and in-competition tests in Britain are considered to be on the day of the fight. So, it is unlikely he is unlikely to face a sanction. Busted, the PED police have caught another cheater. According to WBO middleweight champ Billy Joe Saunders has been caught by Vader testing using the banned substance oxyferoline. I can call it oxyferoline, a stimulant. We can't wait for his excuses. Crazy stuff. Crazy, 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 crazy stuff. I think look at the Twitters. And that's all the Twitters news, yeah. Now, normally at this point, I'd be like, psh, but we're going to do a little bit more of In Other News before we leave you tonight, because there's one story that I wanted to quickly talk about, and it's in the UK. Number one, I wanted to say thank you everyone for joining again tonight, because you know it's great. I'm trying to do this on the regs, as I said. It's a little bit hard at the moment. I am going to be doing a lot of stuff on the Twitter, on the Instagram, and in the next few weeks, I'm going to work out a better schedule for Fowl Originals Newsround. Potentially some rebranding as well. The show, hello Brian, the show is a living, a breathing document, and I'm going to try to get some more music into the show as well. So thank you to everyone who has obviously liked, share, subscribe, blah, 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 blah. Whatever you're watching it on, follow me, follow me, follow me, follow me. Here we are. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Not so far. And obviously you can go, and I'm just going to quick chill. Go to fowloriginal.com. Go to support the channel. You know the haps. But yes, 2 more stories actually before I go. One story which is just a quick one because it needs to be talked about. But dum dum dum, shock, intrigue, fear. Sainsbury's Lego cards pack contained knife blade. The blade, Christy Thorne says her son found in the Lego card pack. A mother has told the BBC of her absolute disgust at discovering the blade of a knife in a pack of children's Lego cards from Sainsbury's. Christy Thorne from Kent was shocked when her 3-year-old son showed her the blade he found when the pack was opened. Lego cards are a range of collectible cards available from the supermarket chain. Sainsbury's says it appeared to be an isolated and unusual incident. Ms. Thorne had hoped to treat her sons by buying them a couple of Lego book albums and card packs while on a visit to her local Sainsbury's in Ashurst, Kent. It didn't look like it had been tampered with, so when I got home, I just put the card packs on the table. They were all playing at the table going through the cards, and that's when my son brought it to my attention. It looked like the blade had been placed in the pack before it was sealed. It was the perfect size to fit in that packet. Ms. Thorne was relieved her children had escaped without injury. My youngest has been opening the packs in his mouth, she explained. Sainsbury's spokesperson said, we're aware of an issue with a pack of Lego cards. This appears to be an isolated incident, unusual incident. To investigate to our supplier, the Sainsbury's supermarket where Ms. Thorne bought the cards has given her £10 as a goodwill gesture. A £10 gift voucher. Yeah, your kid might have died. Here's £10. Buy some more stuff from us. Sainsbury's. Other supermarkets are available, like Jack's. Jack's is a good one. Jack's is a great one. And yes, our last story for the night, before we close up shop. Very, very sad news. Very sad news. Postman Pat and Rosie and Jim author John Cunliffe dies. I like serious, yeah. This really, like, this one again is one of those that really hit me because it's very sad. The first episode of Postman Pat was broadcast in 1981. The creator of children's TV Postman Pat has died. Tributes have poured in for 85-year-old John Cunliffe, who was also the writer and star of Rosie and Jim. I didn't know that he was the writer, and I know that Rosie and Jim, chugging along on the old rag doll. All the birds are singing. I'm just mixing words, are just beginning. Postman Pat, Postman Pat, Postman Pat, and his black and white cat. All the birds are singing, and the day is just beginning. Pat thinks he's a really happy man. Everywhere he goes, his bright red van. All the people find that to say to greet him. Maybe you can never be sure. There's a knock, ring, letters through your door. A Postman Pat, Postman Pat, Postman Pat, and his black and white cat. I really like John and Rosie and Jim as well, and I didn't know that he was also the writer of Postman Pat. Yeah, the creator. It's like, I love it. Yeah, I used to love the old Rosie and Jim. So the author was born in Colne, Lancashire, and lived in Kendal, Cumbria. He took inspiration from the Lake District when creating the show's fictional village of Greendale. The first episode was broadcast on the 16th of September 1981, and the animated series has appeared in more than 50 countries. The family said Mr. Cunliffe died at home after a short illness. The notice of his death was published in the Ilkley Gazette and read, John Cunliffe left his Ilkley home in a deluge of rain on 20th September, never to return. Even the skies wept for John, the gifted creator of Postman Pat, Rosie and Jim, and author of many earlier published collections of poetry and picture storybooks for children. John's last poetry collection, significantly entitled Dare You Go, has now come to fruition for John, who has dared to go and has gone. Director of BBC Children's Alice Webb said, Postman Pat has been a hugely popular character on the BBC for nearly 40 years, thanks to the genuine charm and warmth John imbued in the characters that populate Greendale. It's a world you'd like to be a part of, a community that cares. It's full of heart and full of fun, and that is a lovely thing to show audiences, both young and old. I count myself lucky to be one of the millions of children whose childhoods were enriched by John's creations. A statement posted on Facebook said, John, who was a long-time Lickley resident, became Ilkley resident, became patron of our children's festival when it started in 2003, and delighted children parents at many festivals over the years. And there's this obituary, and got loads of people. Fiona Mosley, chairwoman of the Harrogate International Festivals. Sad news: the gifted creator John Cunliffe had died. And crime writer Lynn Anderson tweeted, my youngest son loved Postman Pat, as did I. I knitted him a jumper with Postman Pat on it. He never wanted to take it off. Thank you, John Cunliffe. And Prisons Minister Paul Goggins once claimed his family was the inspiration for the Postman Pat character Mrs. Goggins, who works in Greendale. Post Office. He said his uncle Edmund Goggins worked with Mr. Cunliffe, who later lived in Ilkley in West Yorkshire as a teacher in Manchester, and probably was the inspiration for the name Goggins. And that's it for tonight. Thank you all very much for joining again for another Fowl Originals News Round. As I said, I'm trying to keep them a little bit more succinct so that we can focus in on some of the stories I want to talk about instead of just blabbing through. And thank you all for joining. Thank you also to everyone in the timeline. I am almost at 6,000 followers on Twitter. I am. It's like 10, 11 followers away. And I will be reaching that by tomorrow. I know I will. And because of that, I'd like to say thank you very much to everyone who has joined me on this ride so far. We've only just begun to live. Friends and family. We've only just begun. There's still so much more to go. And I'm coming up to almost the 2-year anniversary of Real Fowl Original stuff. So I'd like to thank you guys all for that as well. Very much so. It's been a great ride so far. We've got so much more to do. Look at what we've become. We've become a nightly TV show. And yeah, thanks to everyone, as I said, who's joined me on this ride. It's been awesome. Been awesome. And it's still so much more to go. But I'm going to shill it one more time because why not? Why not? That's what we're here to do. So if you go to fowloriginal.com and you see this big old bird face, you come down the page and you can go to support the channel. And if you go to support the channel, you can go to Patreon, streamlabs.com/fowloriginalwrestling. You can click donate, get the guitar. Unfortunately, Brian, the guitar is all the way down. So I'm not running. You can give us $5. You can write a note and say congrats and thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant. And if you threw a party, invited everyone you knew, you could see the biggest gift would be from me, and the card attached would say, thank you for being a follower. Yes, Niaz, what would you like to say? As I queue up the last video for tonight's show, which, I mean, there's only one thing it's going to be, really, isn't it? And I'm probably gonna get screwed over for this as well, yeah. But you know what? I don't care. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, I mean, getting screwed over from loads of things via YouTube, I know that it's probably gonna get blocked. So, whatevs. What bloody evs? Who cares? But yeah, say what you're gonna say, Niaz, as let's get this queued up. What are you saying? Yeah, I can't. You just said I got something to say. I certainly do. Oh, let me tell you something, brother. Oh, hilarity. But yeah, so if not, I mean, if you've got nothing to say, Niaz, then we will be wrapping up the show. So thank you all. Like, share, subscribe. I knew you were going to say that. Get married. Go home. Eat roti. Get a wife. Get a haircut. Get married. Get a job. Find a girl. Settle down in a town and look around and look at me. I am old. I am happy. I'm not short. Astaghfirullah. Yes, astaghfirullah. We'll leave you with this tonight. We'll leave you with this.
Jim! Rosie! Rosie and Jim, chugging along on the old ragdoll. Rosie and Jim, and John, he steers the boat. We go to play and have a look with Rosie's bag, Jim's drawing book. The world drifts by at the window frame, and Rosie and Jim, we play our games. Rosie and Jim, finding stories every day. Rosie and Jim, and
This has been Fowl Original. Thanks for watching. See you next time. And oh, actually, let's get a little bit. There's John.
Hello, I'm John.
Hey,
You saw me steering the boat just now, but that's not my real job.
R.I.P. John.
Is writing books.
R.I.P.
Books for children, just like
This has been Fowl Original. Thanks for watching.
writing a new
See you
book
next
just now,
time. And
all about
join me on
Rosie and
a
Jim.
Sunday for the
They're
weekly
my
wrestling
two
recap.
rag
And
dolls
next week
down
on
on the
Monday
boat.
for Fowl
I
Original's
like to
Newsround.
pretend that they come from